How are you doing, Randolph? You can unmute yourself.
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. First time at one of our events?
Yes.
Cool. How'd you find us?
Um, through the internet, through yeah, Google.
So just a Google search?
Yes.
Okay. It's always good to hear how people are finding us so we know what works.
Okay.
We do a lot of promotion.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm got you off from Google. Um, yes, I actually get a lot. I get, I get I receive a lot of emails from you
Okay.
from the group,
Are you
and
buying houses?
I'm sorry.
Are you buying houses?
I yes, I am currently. 1 second, please. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can you turn your camera on if you don't mind?
I can, but I'm not going to turn it on right. It's not good for me to turn on now. So,
Okay.
but yeah. So basically, I'm just trying to get started here. Um, I just recently moved from Illinois to here,
Okay.
and I was doing wholesaling in Illinois, and
Okay.
I'm trying to get situated here in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Are you using Propelio today?
I am trying to use it. I'm looking into it and see if it's something that see how it would work for me.
Okay.
Uh,
Have you uh, have you subscribed and done the free trial or no?
I just subscribed to the free trial.
Okay. Did you do that through the group?
No, I did not.
Okay. So you may want to do that because we have a special deal with them where you can get 2 additional weeks, so a total of 6 weeks free.
Okay.
And so you would have to either call them and tell them that, you should have signed up through us or just let it terminate and then maybe subscribe using a different email address with the link that we're going to give you today.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you get special deals on any software packages that we offer, any of the real estate investor tools, you get a
Okay.
special deal from us. So,
I
and
just
I'll
popped it in chat for you.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Randolph. I'm Maria,
Hi.
Tim's assistant, and I just dropped it in chat, QR code and also the link. So whichever you prefer.
Okay.
so have you started buying houses here?
I'm getting started. I haven't bought anything yet.
Okay.
Really, trying to negotiate a deal now. So, and um, without what I was using before for lead generation and everything, I'm looking to do something different from that here.
Okay.
And so I just really uh thought I would look into this Propel and see how it works. And from what I understand, I take it a lot of investors in this area use that. So I thought it would be to my advantage to use it and be looking at the same data they're looking at.
The biggest advantage to using it is the MLS comps. There's other features of the tool, but
Okay,
their comps are true MLS sold comps. So
okay,
it's none of this calculation like so many of the other services use, and then they try and tell you it's comps.
right,
These are real MLS sold comps. So
okay.
And we're going to talk about that. I'll mention some of the other tools today on the call, just so people are aware that, everything we offer as far as tools and education and stuff all have special deals attached to them
Okay.
if it's physically possible. So um, we try and take good care of all of our members.
I think I had some other information on you from your Tim, right?
Yes.
Yes. And okay, I have I want to get with you later on after this, maybe tomorrow. Um I just to pick your brain on a couple of different things. I think I have your contact information here,
Okay.
and I will get in touch with you.
So Maria will give you the phone number in chat. And
Okay,
and just I don't know off the top of my head if tomorrow's a good day for me or not, but just
okay,
call Maria and you can set a time to get on my schedule and we'll have a quick conversation, try and answer your questions for you.
okay,
So,
okay. And okay, yeah. So yeah, she can share with me your contact information. Uh, Marie, I don't know if it's possible for you to email that to me, or you can. Okay, yeah, that's his phone number I have for you. Yes. Okay, so I will actually call and talk to you, Maria, to set something up.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you.
absolutely.
So, we have quite a few people signed up, but they're late or missing here. So we're going to go ahead and get started anyhow, Randolph. And
Okay,
so let me share my screen and hopefully the others will chime in.
okay. I'm gonna
And
go ahead and mute my mic here.
okay, the back to the conversation about the camera. It's hard to get motivated talking to a blank screen. So um, I always appreciate if you can use your camera or be in a position where you can use a camera just so I feel like I'm talking to somebody other than a blank screen. Okay, so let me get over here and share my screen. And can you see the screen now? Can anybody see the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So before we jump into the tool, I'm just going to do a quick scroll through their homepage and just talk about the benefits and the features of this tool before we get inside and show you the inside. They have been working very hard at this new version that they have out, and they've changed a lot of the offering and stuff. So I want to just quickly go through this. In my opinion, they have several features, but in my opinion, this right here, unlimited MLS comps for real estate investors, is the biggest reason to be on this tool. And from a cost perspective, that just makes it even a better deal because it's only $29 a month, and you can't find other tools, even tools that offer um, more things. I mean, there just isn't anything that's given you what you need. This piece right here, MLS comps for $29 a month. So just real quick to go through here, um, the statements: real estate investors rely on accurate, unbiased, fast comps. Again, if you try to go to a realtor and do this, you're probably not going to get the same result as what you will if you do it yourself. And the other thing is that you can do it at your desire and need, not on the realtor schedule. So this is a good deal where you can go pull your own comps when you need them. And they're telling you right here, 17 million active and sold listings within the system, 3.4 million active and leased rentals, and 454 million MLS photos. So that's important to help you when you're trying to do your analysis. And then again, 24/7 access to real comparables. It's efficient, cost effective, and the data is fresh. Um, it's the critical type of data that you need to make decisions in your transactions. And you can see all these different things. I would suggest you come in here and just review this homepage in a little more detail on your own and read what it's telling you. This is very important when you're comparing Propelio to another comps tool. There's a lot of tools that offer what they call comps and sales data and history, but these are true numbers right out of MLS. You can do a thumbs up and thumbs down, which means, you're going to review each property in part of your analysis, and I'll show you this when we get inside. But if you have a property that maybe is just a little outside of your criteria, if you are very strict on the year built being 10 years before, 10 years after, or 10% square footage smaller, 10% square footage larger, if you are very strict to keeping with those criteria, then you can use the thumbs up and thumbs down to mean thumbs down means you're not going to use it. You're going to take it out of the equation because it doesn't meet your criteria. So you have that ability to do that here in these tools or in this tool. Um, View full comps. There's reports in here, all the data you can go through and read it. Um, you can just see all kinds of different information, and they also have a mobile app to be able to do driving for dollars. The other thing I wanted to show you is from a training perspective is down here at the very bottom of their homepage, they have a resources tab. So they have a blog, they have what they call Propelio TV, and they have an academy. So you can go through and study and watch their training on doing different kinds of deals and how to use the tool, in addition to what we train you on here at the West DFW REI Group. So keep that in mind. There's a lot on here. They're giving you a lot. It's to your benefit to go through and learn as much as you can about the tool. Okay, so now I've logged in here. Can you now see the Propelio screen with a map? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I just want to make sure sometimes sharing is kind of funky in Zoom, so I just want to make sure you can see it all. So this is the default look when you come in to Propelio. And just going down the left side is a magnifying glass. You can search on property data. You're going to come up here and you're going to put the address here. Coming down the side, list builder. You can come in here and create your own motivated seller lead list and download them. You can send direct mail from within Propelio. And we're going to talk about the list builder though, because you can come in here and create a very detailed motivated sellers list that you can then skip trace from within Propelio. And I believe they're still offering free skip tracing. So that's a huge benefit to you. and you can export the list. You can do direct mail to the list. So very important to have current, updated information as much as possible. And in case you're new to the business, there is no such thing as a 100% accurate list, because if you pull that list right now, somebody's going to move this afternoon, somebody's going to be deceased this afternoon, and so forth. So that list is never going to be 100% accurate. Um, and then driving for dollars. So you can download their app on your phone and you can drive neighborhoods, which will allow you to drop a pin at each of the addresses. You can sync it back up to your desktop, and then you can go do your research and stuff here on Propelio. Let's see here. And then over here in the bottom right corner is their chat. Um, the chat, okay, it looks like maybe they got it fixed now. The chat was down, just so you know. If you send them a message during off hours, then they will send you an email response instead of in the chat. So just know that if you're sending something to them after hours, you're probably going to get an email response to it. Okay. So, any questions so far? So, who's got a property address that they want to look at today? Nobody?
How about 1010 Saunders in Gatesville?
Saunders?
Yes, sir.
That one right there? Hi,
Yes,
Jonathan.
sir.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi. We got a little bit of dog disruption here today, but
Okay. All right. So you put in your address, it brings it up. By the way, Propelio is not just a Texas tool. It is not all 50 states. They are growing. I don't recall. I need to go find my map. They sent me a map of the coverage of the United States, and they are in a very large number of states that you can pull comps on. So keep that in mind if you're trying to do something out of state. But here's what we have for the default. So we pulled up 1010 Saunders. Notice that we have property details tab, a comparables tab. We can go skip trace, and then we have a cash buyers tab that we can go do direct mail to. Okay. So we're not worried about cash buyers right now, but that's what you can go do that as well. Right now, we're really going to focus on these two tabs here. Property details. Notice that going across the top here, we have all these different categories. We can save this property to a list if we care to do so. And then we also have a little drop down menu here that says remove it from all your lists and remove from the search history. Okay. So then we have a map view, a satellite view, and a street view. And we have MLS photos. So it shows you here no MLS photos available for this particular house. So then I'm just going to scroll down quickly to show you the rest of the info here on this page. Notice that they've indicated that this owner may own more than one property, which could mean that, probably means that they are a investor. At a minimum, they're a mom and pops, maybe just have one rental property, but they may have more, right? You can skip trace them right from here. Notice that it's given you the owner's address and the years of ownership is not showing up for some reason. And it looks like they have a entity that is holding this property. So if it was listed before, it would show you that here. Notice that Propelio estimated value, and it's given you a range based on the data that it's found. It's a range of 115 to up to 171,000, and they're just giving you an estimate here of 143. So down here, you can choose to run comps. But before we do that, I want to show you the rest of the page. So it'll show you pre-foreclosure history, the property information about the property. Notice there's no bedrooms, which is many times the case on older properties, and many times the case when you get out into the outlying counties and not in a Dallas or Fort Worth type of place, Tarrant County, Dallas County. Bathrooms, half baths, garage, total rooms, square footage, garage square footage, stories, pool, all this kind of stuff. It's butane fuel and is built in 1955. So it's giving you a lot of information down here. Then there's a land value or land info tab, so you can get a lot more information here about the property along with the legal description. Any liens on the property, and then tax information. Okay, so you have a lot of information here that the Propelio is providing to you instantly. So now what I want to do is I want to come up here and we can say run comps from here. Let's go and do that first. Notice it took us over to the comparable sales tab on the page as soon as I clicked the run comps. Now, remember, we haven't set any filters or anything. We're just going off the defaults that are set up when we opened up the tool. So here's some filters here though that you should consider before you, especially if you are new to the tool and haven't set your defaults, or this particular deal, you may know something where you may want to change those defaults to capture additional potential solds. So up here, we've got property type, any. Well, I'm sorry, I do not use any. I want to filter if I'll only, so if this is a single family home, I only want to see single family homes. I do not want all the others. So I'm going to choose single family. I am not going to use anything else if this is a single family home. I would recommend you do that same thing. Do not use these other types while you're trying to pull true comps. So then I'm gonna come over here and notice sold within the last 6 months. I'm good with that, but sometimes you may want 3 months. Sometimes you may be forced into going out to a year. So we're gonna leave it at 6 months for now and see just what we pull up. I don't know where this property's at, and actually, if you look, we're probably going to find a few properties here based on the map that they've provided, but we'll see. And then I'll show you why we may come back here. And then distance. I'm good with a half mile, but if you are having trouble finding comps, you might have to go to 3/4 of a mile or a mile. Many times, if you're out in the country, for example, working on a mobile home on land, you may have to go out to 5 miles before you find a recent sold property. That is not preferred by any means, but sometimes you have to open up the filters in order to capture something that's going to be helpful to you. Now, at the same time, if I'm in a very populated area and there's been a lot of homes sold, I may have to go to a quarter mile. And that's going to shrink down the numbers, but it's going to give you a more accurate picture. So, any questions on that? When you would use that? Anyone? I'm going to leave it at the half mile to start with until we get going here. Now, and
What was the question again, sir?
do you understand why we might change the distance, the radius from the comps, when we might leave it at a half mile or a quarter mile or have to go out to 5 miles?
Yes. Well, let me just explain, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. The reason why we want to leave it at half mile is because when you're comparing homes, you want to typically stay within the same neighborhood. You don't want to cross any type of major roads or anything of that nature.
That's right.
Yes.
And you know, the distance around the house you're evaluating, um, you know, the further away, the less accurate the comps are going to be. Same thing with this one right here, the months. You want current sales. Doesn't the market change? Isn't our market changing today? The days on market are going up. Prices are a little bit stabilized, but there's still some fluctuation. And, you know, if you want a more accurate picture of what was sold the last 3 months, then you might use, well, we'll leave it at 3. We'll put it on there and we'll see what happens. Okay. Now, year built. Do we want just any year built?
This is going to make it interesting, Tim, because most of the houses that were built around within 10 years of that one there in that neighborhood have been torn down and built new. What I've been doing, I've been comping, is I have to go across that major highway 84 to find properties within a half mile of it that are within 10 years of the build date. I'm just kind of curious to see what Propelio shows. Because this one here, it's a debate between a heavy rehab or a scrape and clear.
Okay. What year did we say this was built? 55?
55.
So I'm gonna show you my norm. So I'm going to choose 1945 to 1965. So that's my starting point. These filters are pretty much my norm when I start evaluating a property. Okay. And then I go look at the results. So let's go down. Notice it says 7 results here. By the way, you can do a drawings boundary. You can draw this. So for example, if you wanted to stay on the south side of East Main Street here, you could draw, and that's where it would pull the comps instead of using the radius up above. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you have to do that. So here is the results of what we just used based on the filters. Notice there's no solds in there, which is pretty much what you found, right, Jonathan?
Yep.
So because there's no solds show up in the filters that I've used, I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to change this, and I'm going to move this out to a mile. Now, I don't like this one at all. Matter of fact, I might even change this one too. but I'm trying to get something to come into the range. Aha. So now changing these filters up here, we brought in some properties that may or may not help us. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find something that is similar. How many bedrooms was this house, Jonathan?
It's a 3 bedroom, 1 bath,
Okay.
but there's enough square footage to make it a 2 bath if need be, which would probably make it more desirable.
Yep. Is there any room for an additional bedroom?
Well, it sits on a half-acre lot. It's a stick house on pier and beam.
Okay.
It's a 1.5 story house. Um, Now the owner's about 2 hours away drive time, and I went and took about 30 something pictures for her and such. But I figured I need to retain a locksmith to open it up to get a better idea. I was talking to my mom about it. I took her driving for dollars and such, and we went by and looked at it. And she stayed in the car, but she's like, "Well, what do you think you'll do with it?" And I said, "Well, depending on how the inside is, the outside's pretty rough. It needs a lot of work on the outside. But if it needs a whole bunch of work on the inside, I'd say it might be very much a scrape and clear." And she's like, "You're not going to tear down that old house?"
Okay, so um you just sometimes you never know. Most likely the outside is a representation of the inside, but you don't know until you get in there. So the next thing I do is I look right here. This is the subdivision for this house. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go look for these properties that are in the same subdivision. Notice new addition, new addition, new addition, original town, new addition. I don't know how you say that. There's only one property in that same addition. So let's go look at it and see. Notice it shows us the property specifics up here, except for the bedrooms. Okay, built in 55, 1,671 square feet, almost a half acre. So when I come down here to this property, you know, look at the square footage difference. So is this, oh, this is for sale anyhow, not sold. But let's just go look at this house and see what it looks like. Well, I guess we're not going to do that. There's a picture display problem. Okay, so is this if this was sold, it wouldn't be a good comp anyhow, right? Because
Yeah, it's way too small.
So, and quite honestly, you know, a lot of these older neighborhoods and out in the country, it's not uncommon to have comps become very difficult. Okay, so then I start looking at the other properties around it. I'm not going to take the for sale properties out of the equation just yet because I may want to go look and see what kind of um, condition they're in, what's selling, are people upgrading to granite and that kind of thing. So, but what I probably would do is I would probably go through and take out all of these very, very small square footage homes so that we're not even considering them at all, especially on the ones that are sold. So the way you do that is, remember we talked about thumbs up and thumbs down earlier? You're going to come over here and click thumbs down, and it takes that property right out of the equation when you go to pull comps. Notice it grayed out when I clicked on that. So I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to find the other sold properties. Now, this one square footage wise is pretty darn close to this one, right? We could use that one because it's a large home. But notice that it's not a really good fit here as far as bedrooms and bathrooms or garage. So, but
Yeah,
I might go look at
yeah,
it.
it's also across Highway 84. The subject property is north of 84, and most of those are south of 84.
Okay. So notice that over here in this column, we have the distance from the house. So that makes sense, Jonathan. It's, half a mile, over a half a mile away. Look at this one, almost a mile away. So it's not going to be very easy coming up with a good solid comp on this house because of the distance and how far away it is. But I would still go through here and get rid of these others that we know for sure are not good comps. We're just trying to fine tune what we're doing and try and narrow down the list to look at before we start really putting any thought into whether or not it's a good comp or not. So, you know, again, this is a difficult property because there's nothing that's really matching our subject property. Okay. This one is way too big. We don't even want to look at that, even though it's for sale. This one is square footage wise is okay. This one is okay square footage wise. It's about the same size land. So it's 0.2 miles. It's for sale. I always like to keep the for sale properties on my initial go around so that I can see what the neighborhood is doing. What are they doing in that neighborhood as far as the rehabs go? Okay, so we got pictures on this one. So you can tell that this is a much better maintained property. Um, this may be virtually staged, I'm not sure. Is this much nicer than your property, Jonathan?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
Okay. I figured. Okay. So coming on down here,
Tim, may I ask you a question?
sure.
This is Laura. The
Hi,
house
Laura.
on, hi. There's a house, I think it's on Leon. Um, but I don't see it on the list now. It's was listed for like 123 and sold for like 203. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that one. It was right near the one that you were discussing a moment ago. Are we on a different page?
It's still the same
And it
page.
was built like 1960, if I remember correctly.
What was the street right here? Leon?
Yeah, I thought, oh, I'm looking at that wrong. List price. Okay, no, there was one that was, I thought it was listed for like 123. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but I didn't think so. It was sold. Um,
I'm not seeing a 123.
okay.
It was near the bottom of the page, I believe.
Oh, you saw it too. All right, well, I guess I should speak up a little bit faster.
Is this it? This 1009 East Leon?
I thought it may be, I just remember the street name being Leon.
Right below that one, below the other way? Is it?
Green one is for sale down toward the bottom 1009 East Leon.
Oh
This
yeah.
one had al- yeah, this one had
Yeah,
already
that's on
sold. Mhm.
yeah, that's on the other side of 84 though. That's the problem I'm having is I really don't want to cross the major highway going through the town.
Yep. And even though it's 0.1 miles, it's across a major highway.
Yeah, the property is real close to 84. It's like 2 blocks away. And yeah, but I was wondering on comping this one here, would it be better to comp it based upon potential rental income from it? Because rents in this area go for about 12 to 1500 for a similar house.
I mean, that's certainly an option. The other thing that I do is when there's no true comps available, I'll go and look at the county, what the tax appraisal district value is, and then I'll look at Zillow and Redfin, and I'll kind of take all those and come up with an average as far as the value goes. But if you plan to do a rental, you certainly could evaluate it that way. And but what I do, because I'm very conservative when I get into a scenario like this where I can't find comps. So what's the best thing to do when you don't know or you're not comfortable that you have solid comps? What's the best thing to do?
Ask your cash buyer what they would pay for.
Well, that's certainly an option too. But what I was thinking was go in conservative, go in low. If you really have no idea, I mean, there's a lot of properties here to go in and take time to look at each one of them and see what style of home it is compared to your home. What are people putting in the homes to sell them? I'm going to look at days on market. Look at some of these 248, 148, 129. Some of them are much lower 85, 130, 158, 102, 414, 275. Do you feel comfortable that you're going to be able to go soak a bunch of money in this house and rehab it and then sell it fast?
Well, I'm thinking it'd be more potentially a scrape and clear. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on the house. They acquired it in 1997, and they got divorced, and neither one of them wanted the house, but she got awarded the house by the judge. And it's been on Zillow over the years a couple of times. At one time, it was 79,000, and there were no takers. A couple of years later, they tried at 29,000, and there were no takers. It's in pretty rough shape, like I said. It'll either be a heavy rehab or a scrape and clear. And my concern on this, though, with it being 1955, is that there could be asbestos inside as well with the flooring and the insulation and the pipes and all that, where the
Yep.
remediation costs may exceed the value of the land if it's to be scraped and cleared, because you have to remediate the asbestos first and then pay for the demolition and clearing of the debris.
Yep. So the other part of that answer, though, is if you scrape it, what can you build new for? And would it sell in this neighborhood? Are there other new construction homes in this entire area that are selling?
Well, there have been some that over the past year or two have been scraped and cleared and built new. Now, the interest rates have a big determination upon whether people are willing to do that or not. Um, Lots for a half-acre lot in this city are about 30,000, but I figure it'd probably be about 20,000 just to bulldoze and remove the remains of the house, assuming there's no asbestos risk there.
Yep. There's a lot of work that goes into evaluating a property like that. Again, so the other option you might try, Jonathan, is just put it under contract with an option and go market it and see if you can wholesale it. See what kind of bite you get that way. I
Oh,
mean,
most definitely. That's what
rather
I'm
than,
looking at.
yeah, I mean, she's tried 29,000, that didn't work. Try 20, try 18, see and explain to her what you're doing. And then just go market the heck out of it. Put it in your group website. Let the system
Mhm.
work for you with marketing it. I don't know if I have buyers in this town or not in my real flow buyers list, but you know, if you put it out there and you get no bites, that kind of tells you a little more about what
Yeah,
you're up.
that's what my concern is, but I'm pretty sure I can get it locked up with her. You know, we had really good rapport in that, but my concern is that there won't be any bites, even if I lock it up at a really good price. You know, I'll have
But
to see what she needs to get from it. But like I said, she's about 2 hours away, and the city's real bad about finding for tall grass, and she's current on her property taxes and insurance and all that. So that's just a negative cash flow for her. So you know, she might give it away for practically nothing. I don't know. I need to talk to her some more though. That's what I plan on doing later.
okay. Well, it sounds to me like you should go pursue that and get it under contract, you know. Heck, she might be willing to take more than or less than that just to get rid of the headache and having to keep up with the city code violations and so forth. So, but again, you will never know. You should not assume you will not find a buyer. You should get it under contract and just start marketing it. How far is this from the Metroplex?
Oh, it's about 2.5 hours.
Okay. But I try it and see. That's about the best I can tell you. Was there any other questions about the comps? This is not a very easy property to comp. And
Hey Tim, have you had to deal with asbestos over the years with properties you've acquired?
never.
Is that normally a pass on adding to your portfolio?
Sometimes, yes. It is a huge risk. It is a huge extra cost. And that's just not been the type of property that I've been buying. And again, you're skipping that issue if you are only wholesaling it and putting it under option agreement, which is a good reason to do that, right?
Most definitely.
All right. Any other questions? I know I didn't give you a very good answer on value of this property, but you know, you don't have good comps here to really help you get a value. If you were going to pursue it, you would do the thumbs up, thumbs down of each one, you know, whether that's, uh, you know, if you wanted all these to be used for comps, I'm just doing this as a demonstration, not saying these are comps. But once you have selected what you want to keep and use, then you get all those checked green and you come up here and you do an update, and then you're going to click print in order to go print that set of comps. Okay, and it's going to print out in a PDF so that you have all this in one nice little clean report to show to the sellers if you were to share it with them. Naturally, the final copy, you don't want the active for sale properties in it unless you're trying to prove a point to the seller that they're asking too much. Mr. and Miss Seller, 123 Main Street is for sale at, you know, $100 a square foot, which is less than what you want for your house, but yet they've got all these updates and yours doesn't have any of that. So you can keep the for sale properties, or you can do a separate set of comps that are nothing but the for sale properties to show them what is their competition. I definitely like to emphasize these properties with the high days on market. I mean, that would kill me to go spend, 50, 60, 75 grand on a rehab and have it sit there because it won't sell. That's just eating up your profit every single day it's sitting there. Does that make sense? Any other questions at all? Anybody?
I
I
feel better about
Say
Oh, I
again?
feel better about the comps that I tried to run because I was thinking there's got to be something, but I just really couldn't find. It kept violating all the rules anytime I tried to get a comparable, whether it's like going out to 20 years and not crossing the highway. But 20 years, I think plus my 20 years is just too far for to
I,
go out on the comps.
oh yeah, you can't use that. Um, I would rather play with the square footage or the year built before I would go out 20 years. Um, just just so I can try and still find a house that's similar, but you start going back 20 years ago, that's not even close. You can't use that.
Oh
And
no, I was talking about the year built going plus or minus 20 years on the year built instead of plus or minus 10.
yeah, that's too far too. Yeah. But you can play with square footage some, make it a little bigger range and see if you pull anything else into the circle of comps. But sometimes it's not easy doing this stuff. And this is where an option agreement comes into play, and you can go market it, for such and such price or best offer. Make me an offer and see what you come up with. You may find when you start marketing it, you may find a local buyer there that maybe has family down the street, maybe wants to build there or wants to go rehab it. You just never know who's going to step up once you start advertising. You put that sign in the yard, you put it on the internet in various places. You never know what's going to show up. So, my recommendation, Jonathan, is go get an option on it.
Well, I appreciate you, Tim.
Yes, sir. All right. Is that horse dead? Any other questions on this? Anybody else have a property they want to look at? Nobody's looking at properties? Is there any questions about comps in general before we move on to the list builder? Come on, people, you're going to make me fall asleep here if you don't talk to me a little bit. Okay, I'll try and stay awake.
Tim, you mentioned dead horses. That's what we are.
You're
We're
not
all dead
supposed to,
horses.
you're new investors. You're supposed to be so excited I can't calm you down.
I know, I know, I know. We all have excuses, right? And as I used to tell my kids, excuses come a dime a dozen.
That's right.
Yeah,
What do they do for you? Not much.
absolutely nothing, right?
Yep. Okay, so we're going to play with list builder for a little bit. I presume everybody would like a good list to mail to. What kinds? So let's see if we can get a little conversation here. What kinds of sellers are you looking for? Or do you know what kind of seller you're looking for? What do you think you want to use for direct mail or skip tracing so you can cold call them or go door knocking, things like that? What kind of a seller do you want to go after?
You could go after the arrest records. You could also go after people that are in financial distress, that have filed bankruptcy in the past 5 or so years, because a lot of times habits continue to even after they get discharged.
For some, that's very true. I was thinking things like absentee owners.
Hired landlords is a pretty popular one. Actually, I got one person in Harker Heights that has two that wants me to follow up in about 2 weeks.
Which one's that? I'm sorry.
Tired landlords,
Oh, tired.
depending on the list you're pulling from, that could mean that they've owned the property for 10 or 15 years. Depending on the software vendor, some say they're tired at 10, some say they're tired at 15.
Yep. Another one is senior citizens, right?
I would say tired landlords, senior owners, active tax liens. Those would be some to target, especially if all of them are combined with like another variable, which would be like vacant.
Yep. So there's a lot of different things to consider. And, you know, when you're creating list, I like to compare it like this. You want to do sniper marketing versus shotgun marketing, right? What I mean by that is a good example of shotgun marketing would be mailing an entire zip code. Why do that? So many people have just bought new houses in the last 5 years. You'd be wasting your money to mail to them. Whereas sniper marketing would be getting a very refined list, just like you suggested, Terrence, is having a few of these combinations or a few of these types of buyers or sellers combined in one list. So, tired landlord, absentee owner, maybe a senior in tax liens. Those would lead you to believe they could be a very motivated seller. You know, if for senior citizens, the thinking is, you know, they may have lost a loved one, they may be ill health, they may not have seen the upstairs of their house in 10 years because their knees are bad, they're overweight, things like that, right? So those are many times going to be very motivated sellers. So you want to try and pull a list, and Propelio allows you to go through and really fine tune your list so that when you generate the list, your money is going to be well spent. You're not going to waste money on skip tracing. In this case, Propelio is giving you skip tracing too. But if you were using another tool, skip tracing cost you money. If you're going to do direct mail with these lists, you know, you want it to be as refined and exact as possible so that you're not throwing away money on direct mail. And that's even more so true today with all the price hikes on, um, you know, tariffs kicking in, the postage just went up again. You know, all these things cost you money, right? So the intent of being very targeted is to save you money, but yet generate the best results. So with Propelio, you can do that. You have location, property type, owner, stress indicator, and equity. So you come right through, you go through each of these tabs and you experiment with selection. And down here in the bottom, you're going to see some numbers popping up. You're going to see how each of the changes you make affect the number of potential sellers. Okay, so let's just say Tarrant County. So when you put it in there, you want to select it. Notice it's spinning and working. Because this is a big list, of the county, it's going to take a few seconds to process.
Tim, this is where we would find pre-foreclosures and foreclosures as well, right?
Yes. Okay, 730,000 people.
Ooh,
Do you want to send that direct mail campaign? Do you want to do cold calling to that campaign? Right? So now we can refine it though. So let's say, give me a little place in Tarrant County. Anybody? How about Lake Worth? Does that work?
Mhm.
Okay, so again, it gives you a drop down to pick. I'm going to select Lake Worth, watch the number being recalculated.
It's cooking.
It is cooking. Wow. So I wonder why that went to 740. Okay, let's go to zip code. 76135. So now we're getting really specific. So why did that go up? Okay. 850,863. Okay. Let me see what happens when I take. Okay. So I think I did this wrong right here. I think I was adding these instead of just selecting one, narrowing it down. And this is really what we want, right? 11,009. So that's location, property type, just like in the comps. We only want, well, you want to pick what you want. I do not recommend just doing any, but you could if you wanted to mail to anything that was a potential seller. But I like to be specific so that my marketing is for that type of property. Okay. Um, that's the way I've always done it. That's the way I prefer it to be. You could use single family and mobile homes. You could do just land, in which case your direct mail campaign, your marketing is going to be different for vacant lots and stuff, right? You're going to use different words than you would use for a house, in my opinion. So I'm going to choose single family. Notice that it reduced the number from 11 to 8. And then now we're going to come down here and instead of just saying single family, you could start being selective on what kind of single family. So you can either choose the oldest or the highest or the lowest year built that you want. So if I said I don't want anything newer than say 2000, that takes it down to 6,000. But what if I went this way and said I don't want anything older than say 1950? So that gives you 7,400. If you put a range in there, that's going to make it even different, right? 5,000, because now it's narrowing it down. So you don't want to buy anything older than 1950 or nothing newer than 2000. Does that make sense? You follow me so far? So if I wanted to put this at, say, 1975, now we're down to 2,900. So you see how that works? Either the oldest, the newest, or a range in between. So I'm going to take it back to the oldest. I don't want anything older than 1950. And that gives us 2,900. But I don't like two-bedroom houses. I'm looking for flips. I don't want to flip a two-bedroom. I want three. So I'm going to say three-bedroom. What did that just do? Okay, so it did reduce it. So we're starting at 7,400. Now I want three bedrooms only, 6,400. And I don't like one bath houses. I want two baths. So now we're down to 5,600. The number's starting to get more manageable, right? Okay.
Can you set it by number of stories? I don't think Propelio allows you to do that yet, right?
I
They're
don't think
asking.
so. We'll be watching for that, Maria, but I don't think so.
Okay, and then also they're asking in chat about the age, does it allow to set age range of owner as well, or owners?
We're getting
The
to
age
ownership.
range.
Give me a minute when we get to ownership.
Okay, thank you.
I believe so, but it's been a while since I pulled my last list. So the house size. Do I want to rehab a house that's 800 square feet? No way, right? I mean, why would I want to do that? You want to, if you're trying to rehab houses, you want something that's going to be in demand. So I'm going to say 1,000 square feet. Okay. Now we're down to 5,500. If you didn't like that, you wanted 1,200 square foot, 5,100. Okay. So every time you make an entry, always, um, always watch and see what the impact is to your filters. Also notice at the very bottom, we have it shows you all the filters that we've chosen so far. Okay. Now I'm going to click over to owner. So now we have length of ownership. So we're not going to get a date of birth. And I'd have to go find out what the definition of senior is. I don't remember what it is, but notice that just by choosing senior, it dropped down to from 5,100 to 1,238. That's a huge, huge number change, isn't it? So you can come up here and you've got to be careful here. Watch these when you start combining these filters, sometimes the numbers get kind of wacky. So you're going to want to be careful here and think about what numbers you're asking for. So in most cases, to me, uh, if you're trying to find somebody that has a lot of equity, which is what we want, right? We want people to have a lot of equity so that we can do creative financing, make cash offers. It's easier to do that than if it was a pretty new home, they had a big mortgage on it, it's hard to give a wholesale offer when they owe a lot of money. So if we wanted to find people that had a lot of equity, we could say people that own the house 20 years. Now look what happened. We're down to 227. So that went from 1,238 to 227. So now right now, we have, with the filters we have got a very solid list for doing a mail campaign, or even skip tracing and doing a cold call campaign if you wanted to. The one thing I want to remind you of is don't pull a list and then let some other planned event get in your way from taking action and completing your campaign, whether that's skip tracing and calling them, sending them emails, or direct mail. Don't pull the list today and go on vacation tomorrow, because otherwise the list is going to be outdated again. Uh, so you just wasted the time and maybe some money if you go mail to it. So do this when you're ready to take action. The next step is implementing and sending your direct mail campaign. Hope that makes sense. So then you want to go and just go through each of these other filters, watch how the number changes down here. So you can do in-state absentee owners. Notice what it did, 227 to 30. Now my list is getting pretty small. But if your budget's really small for direct mail, this might be a good thing, right? So again, pay attention to what you're doing with each one of these filters. I don't normally do the out of country. I haven't seen, in this case, it didn't add or have any people. I suppose that on some areas there might be out of country. For example, if you were pulling a list in Dallas County, you might see quite a few people out of country. I don't know. So I'm going to turn that filter back off. We're going to keep seniors. Now, do you want to market to people in with a property that's in a trust? Let's see what happens. So that gave us 6 more. I don't know if that's correct or not, so I'm going to skip that one. Personal residence, owner occupied. Now we've chosen absentee owners. So I suspect that if I click this, we're on 30. This is going to add numbers because we're selecting personal owner occupied. It did. See, it went from 30 to 190. So you can market to these people. Many investors like to focus on the absentee owner that may find owning that property still is difficult. So it just depends on your message and how you're trying to market. Out of state landlords. So we've got the in state over here. So if we choose out of state, that probably is going to increase the number too. So we were at 30. No, didn't change anything. So I'm kind of surprised at that one. Military, the last I knew, wasn't working. This, by the way, what you're seeing here is all new in the last, 6 to 9 months or so. So some of these, some of the list tool is still, it tells you right here. Features are in development still, so not everything is working properly. And then you can also search on corporate owned. That didn't do anything for us. I don't know that I would use that one. And then here's your REO bank owned category, and that didn't give us anything. So I'm not sure if that's working either. I'll try and reach out to Daniel, the owner. I know him, and I'll see if he can tell me what the status is of these last three or four here. Okay, any questions about what we've done now? Okay, stress indicators. The last I knew, vacant wasn't working. Let's see if so there's nothing it takes it to zero, so that must not be working. And then equity. So here you can select the amount of equity that you're after. If you're only going after houses with 50,000 equity in it, so you can make a creative owner finance, nothing down offer, then you can dictate that. I don't like to go that route. Um, if you're looking for a particular property value, you can identify that here. You know, for example, I don't like to, even though my strategies work on higher end homes, I know that homes with higher prices are slowing down in the market. They may be a little harder to get rid of, you know, which is more expense for you. I may not bother with those. I like to buy houses that are under 450. Okay. So notice that dropped it down to 20. I'm not going to put a minimum because do I care if if I find a deal that I can spend $10,000 on and it's a deal, then I'm still going to go after it. I just don't want to be um, messing around with stuff higher than this. You could, you know, if you were going to do nothing but options and not close on them, you're just going to do an option and assign it, then you could go with higher price properties. If you only want free and clear homes, again, this is one since this says no results. I'm not
Well,
sure that the filter's working. Somebody say something?
no, I just said, wow.
Oh. So high equity, again, you know, here's the price range of the home, but here's the the you can do a percentage or you can do amounts. So you just have to decide what you're going after. Are you after a dollar value? Let's say 20,000. So that takes you down to one. So you got to be really careful on what you do with these filters. Let's see if I put in 10%. It still took you down to one. So I'll try and find out um, if all of these filters are working. I'll see if I can get an update from Daniel on that. This unknown, I don't know what that means. Now, upside down gives you no result too. So I suspect it's not working, but is going after upside down properties a good idea? Anybody? Anybody have a
You
strategy?
can, if you can take them subject to and the cash flow to cover the servicing of it, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and give you a little bit of money left over for maintenance, vacancy, and repairs.
Yep. Yep. And then sell them on owner finance wrap. So let's say you come across the house that was worth 200,000 and they owed 195. That would be considered upside down for us as an investor, right? 5% is not any kind of profit whatsoever. But you could take that $200,000 house that 195 is owed, and you could sell that for 2.25, 230, maybe more, depending on the house, with owner finance. Because when you're offering terms, you're making it worth more. So you could do that using an option and market it as seller finance on a wraparound mortgage and get that 30,000 at closing and have a nice little payday for you, kind of similar to a wholesale deal, right? So now the buyer, if your underlying mortgage is at 5% and your buyer is paying you 8%, now you have a monthly cash flow in addition to the 30,000 down payment. So you wouldn't want to use necessarily all these same filters that we've used and then do the upside down strategy. You would want to change to probably newer homes that have a mortgage and then market to these kind of people, because you're going to have a different message for those people. Does everybody follow me on that? Does that make sense? It's a whole different strategy. Your marketing's got to be different. Your exit strategy is going to be considerably different. But it's a great campaign, great strategy if you want to buy subject to deals and sell them on an owner finance wrap. Or if that subject to deal was on a 2 or 3% mortgage, you may be able to cash flow the heck out of that in today's rental market. So that's another way to go after it. But takes a lot of careful planning and having a team in place and having a good solid exit strategy and know what you're doing so that you don't lose money in that. Okay. So any questions on this? Do you like this tool?
Mhm.
What's everybody think? You like the list capability? There are some of the filters that are not working. I'll find out just which ones they are. But what I would suggest to you all is make sure you go play with each of the filters, watch that number in the bottom right corner to see how many it gives you. And then that way you can make sure it is working and what the impact is. And remember, when you start doing direct mail campaigns, you want your message to match the type of sellers that you've created the list for. You don't want to send a pre-foreclosure message to a probate type of list. Okay. So, by the way, if you have trouble with this version 2, let me share again. Why did I unshare? If you think you're having problems with the list builder, or you want to go look at the old version, you can come back over here to this button right here, visit old Propelio, and go use the old version. Okay, up to you. But Daniel gives you that capability to go back and forth and try different ones. And remember to keep an eye out here in this top header area where it tells you, and it even gives you a link to provide feedback and contacting support. Okay, pretty powerful tool though. Again, the comps piece of it, is worth it by itself. $29 a month to be able to pull MLS comps is just a great deal. So before I forget, you have a couple offers in the chat that Maria has given you. One is for Propelio. We have a special deal with Propelio to get you some extra free days up to 6 weeks. You got to follow the instructions to get the extra time, but it's worth it to get the extra time by using the links that we provide you. The other option is for the folks that are not members here today. We're going to give you a limited time offer to become a member of the West DFW REI Group. For 30 days, you can become a member for $5 stinking dollars. $5 and get full access to everything that we offer our members. And then you have the choice of whether you want to renew on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. This is a great opportunity. If you're not sure what a REIA group is or what we're all about, becoming a member for $5 is a very worthwhile investment because you get access to all the past training, the video, the audio, the forms, contracts, free reports, all that stuff is a part of our membership benefits. And I would encourage you to go try it and see what we're all about for $5. Thank you, Laura. Love what you hear and what you're getting out of it, right?
That's it.
So, are you back home yet? Weren't you?
Just got back home on Sunday.
Okay.
Chris is out of town again, otherwise he'd be here.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, looking forward to whenever you want to sit down like we were talking about and
yep.
before you went out of town and help you get moving. So,
Out of the past 3 weeks, I think I've seen him 4 days.
wow.
So I know. So he's being a busy man.
Yep. That's the reason well, part of the reason why I resigned from BA Systems when I was supporting Lockheed, just too much road time. I wanted to focus on my business. So,
Yeah.
okay, Terrence, Randolph, you guys I think are new with us. You have any questions for me at all on anything at all? The offers or the tool, um, anything at all?
Yeah, I do have a question with this. No, so you say that I can do mailers through it. Are the mailers just letters? Do they do postcards?
So I've not used their mail tool because I use one in RealFlow that I have postcards with. I
Okay.
believe, I believe they are postcards.
Okay. And do you know that if it's just, I can just use the postcards they have, or I can like edit the postcards and make it my own the way I want it, the word, or
So I can do that in the tool I use. I can make custom postcards.
okay.
Um, I am not sure. Let me see here. It's just not, I use so many different tools, and the mailing part is something I just haven't done here.
Okay.
Give me a second here again. I'll see if I can pull it up. So, by the way, once you've created your list, then you're going to use it through the list manager.
Okay.
Okay. So, um, and you can see here that each one of them shows you the filters that you've um, used for that list. Okay. So I'm just going to open this one up here. And here you can see your list criteria. You can delete the list. You can download the list. And I'm looking for the direct mail. You can rename the list. You can see that I have 1,235 properties in this particular list. Where is the print, the direct mail button? Here's another one. Download the list and download the skip tracing data once you've gone and skip traced it. So where, hmm.
Well, Tim, I do appreciate it. I have to sign off now, but I will research that some more on my own. But I do appreciate everything.
You're very welcome. Hopefully we'll see you again. We have a lot of events coming up. For the new folks, we're doing a special event on in September. What is that date, Maria? The 6th?
6.
6th September. That's going to be specifically to new events or new investors thinking about investing or how to get started. We're going to have a panel discussion with experts there. We're going to talk to you about the thought processes, the things you need to do if you want to start your own real estate investing business. And we're going to go through it step by step. And then there'll be a part 2 in November where we're going to take it even further as well, because we've got a lot of people asking, I'm interested or I've decided to do it, but I don't know what to do next. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about the tools. Laura's saying, yeah, that we're going to talk about the tools, the power team you need, and so forth. But yeah, if you can join us on that, be sure you get registered. And in the meantime, I'll try and find this print marketing.
I think it has to be through the app, Tim. Remember? They hadn't enabled that feature before, if I remember, because I had asked him about that before. And
Okay.
it was through the Propelio app
Okay.
to do the campaign.
Well, like I said, I appreciate everything, and you all have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
You too,
Bye.
Randall. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye.
Tim, I've got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Being new in all this and trying to get started here, I don't want to overwhelm us with a lot of apps. So if we were to stick to one, would you side more with Propelio, which sounds very user friendly? I like it a lot. Or you mentioned Real Flow, I think it's called, or
So,
someone new.
Laura, I think you and I, maybe it was Chris and I talked about it. Um, you don't need a real flow type tool to start with. However, we talk a lot about tools and not every tool is one size fits all. Propelio for me is a specific tool that I'm after. It's comps and the seller's list. Okay. That's where I see the big value. However, all of these tools have certain value to you. And the one thing that's changed probably since the three of us talked one day at the meeting is that Real Flow now has comps as well in it. But Real Flow is much more than that. It's a CRM tool. I manage my whole business with that. And consequently, you're going to pay a little bit more money for it, but it does a whole lot more. Now, their comps tool is nowhere near as easy to use as what you just saw with Propelio. Um, but it's a matter of trying things and seeing what you're most comfortable with.
Okay.
We talk about, and we've got presentations coming up for connected investors, Deal Machine. We've got a new one coming called REI Black Book. These are all very powerful tools, but I, even myself, I try and touch all these tools periodically, but I use Real Flow the most with Propelio for comps. And I actually compare comps, Real Flow and Propelio. I compare them to make sure I have correct numbers and capture all the right information. Um, REI Black Book does a whole lot more than some of the tools that we have today. So it's just a matter of, trying to test them and figure out what you need and which one is going to be best suited for your needs.
Okay.
If you're just looking for comps, Propelio is probably the go-to because
Okay.
it's so simple. Now you subscribe to, was it Deal Machine?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was thinking you got Deal Machine or PropStream. Maybe not. I was thinking that Chris said that he subscribed to something and he wanted to had questions to help him get started with it.
I'll ask him.
Okay.
Who knows? He gets up at 5 in the morning. Who knows what he does? He's on the computer doing all sorts of things. And then my last question, Tim, is do you know approximately when asbestos was outlawed in Texas? Because I'd like to stay away from homes. I think there's a whole nother ball of wax when you buy a house with asbestos.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Generally speaking, in the mid 70s was when it was being strictly curtailed. In the mid 80s is when it was outlawed.
Okay.
I was kind of looking at that with this older house I'm working with the seller on, and yeah, that's the big boogeyman for me on this one is. But like Tim says, you get it under option contract and say, hey, set the expectations up front. There may be a lot more repairs on this than what the land and stuff is worth, and but I'll do my best to see if we can't get somebody that would
The
bite.
the contractor that I'm using's been in the business for like 30 years. And he's been formally educated on construction as well. He's not just somebody that decided to become a general contractor. He's got a lot of education behind him. I'll ask him when asbestos, the question about asbestos and see what he says. And I'll get back to everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Terrence, any other questions? Okay. All right, folks. Well, if you have any other questions, you know how to reach us. It's in the chat
Yes.
has our
Yes, I have a quick question. Does Propelio let you import addresses from another list builder?
I'm not sure, Jonathan. I saw export buttons. I'm not sure about import. RealFlow can import. REI Black Book imports. I'm not sure about Deal Machine.
Yeah,
But-
Deal Machine will let you both import and export.
Okay. So I got a lot of questions for Propelio. I'll find out. Okay. Well, that's
Thank
all I got, folks.
Thanks, Tim.
You bet, Jonathan.
Yes.
Have a great day, everybody.
Absolutely.